The hum of the starship corridors was constant, a low vibration that traveled through every panel and floor tile. Captain Adrian Shaw moved through the metallic halls with calm precision, his boots echoing faintly against the polished alloy. He had traveled across countless star systems, faced pirates, alien warlords, and death-world predators. Yet something in the command deck today felt unusual. The briefing room, usually filled with the chatter of crew members and the soft clicking of holoscreens, was quiet. Too quiet. Adrian raised an eyebrow, noting the tense silence that wrapped the room like a heavy cloak. Officers, scientists, and diplomats from several allied species stood in neat rows, their eyes fixed on the far end of the room. There, standing at the center of the polished floor, was someone entirely unexpected. She was tall, her posture impeccable. Her uniform, unlike any military attire Adrian had seen, shimmered with a subtle luminescence reflecting the soft light from the ceiling panels. Her eyes, bright and unwavering, met his directly the moment he entered. There was no hesitation, no fear, only strength. The room seemed to shrink around her. Whispers died mid-sentence. Conversations halted. Even the holographic displays flickered slightly as if acknowledging her presence. She did not need a weapon or a display of force. Her mere stance commanded attention. Adrian stopped several steps from the threshold, taking in every detail. Her hair was tied back in a practical braid, but strands of silver caught the light, giving her an almost ethereal glow. Her face, stern yet graceful, suggested someone who had lived through hardship and emerged stronger. And despite the formal environment, there was an energy about her, a quiet authority that made even the most confident officers hesitate. "Captain Shaw," she said, her voice carrying clearly across the room, smooth yet firm. "I am Lieutenant Kayla Vera of the Intergalactic Peacekeeping Alliance. I've been assigned to your ship for this mission." Her introduction was formal, but the weight behind her words made them feel more like a challenge than a greeting. Adrian studied her carefully. She wasn't here for diplomacy. She wasn't here for routine inspection. There was purpose in every movement, precision in every glance. "Lieutenant Vera," Adrian replied, keeping his tone steady. "Welcome aboard. We weren't expecting Alliance personnel on this assignment. Your presence suggests the situation is more serious than I was briefed." Kayla inclined her head slightly, acknowledging his words. "It is," she said. "There are forces at play that require immediate intervention. I am here to ensure your team is prepared and that the mission succeeds without unnecessary loss." Her words were clear, but her tone carried an unspoken message. She expected obedience, and not from fear but from respect. Adrian felt it instantly, that subtle shift in the air when a person steps into a room and owns it without needing to assert dominance physically. He'd seen many leaders in his life, but few had commanded attention this effortlessly. "Very well," he said, gesturing for her to follow. "Let's review the mission plan. You will have full access to all data, and I expect your input. But I warn you, Captain Shaw's crew is loyal, highly skilled, and sometimes stubborn." Kayla's gaze did not waver. "I am not here to undermine your authority," she said. "I am here to ensure success. Stubbornness is manageable. Ineptitude is not." There was a ripple of quiet laughter among the crew, though it was subdued. Her confidence was contagious, and it made those around her reconsider their own postures, their own positions. Adrian felt a mixture of admiration and caution. He had met strong personalities before, but rarely someone who could instill calm and tension at the same time. The briefing began. Holographic maps flickered to life above the table, displaying a region of space dense with asteroid fields and contested sectors. The mission was delicate: recover an advanced AI core stolen from a research station by unknown forces. Failure could destabilize several allied worlds, and the intelligence suggested that a powerful faction was already moving against them. Kayla leaned forward slightly, her hands resting on the table. "These readings," she said, pointing to a cluster of red markers on the hologram, "suggest more than just a theft. The attackers are coordinating with multiple factions, possibly mercenary groups. They expect resistance but underestimate the human element." Adrian raised an eyebrow. "The human element?" Kayla's eyes met his again. "Yes, your species, your resilience and adaptability. It is often overlooked by other civilizations. They do not account for human creativity in combat, their unpredictability, or their stubborn determination to survive and overcome impossible odds." The room went silent. Her words were not flattery. They were observation, and in her calm, precise way she had struck a chord. Humans, especially those trained for deep space operations, were often underestimated, and here she was acknowledging it openly. Adrian leaned back, considering her. He liked her perspective. She was precise, intelligent, and not intimidated by the situation, or by him. That was a rare combination. Most outsiders, even highly trained officers, would hesitate when standing before the captain of a human ship. She didn't. She met his gaze and expected to be met in return. As the briefing continued, Kayla shared strategic insights, tactical maneuvers, and historical data on similar incidents. Every suggestion was calculated, every observation deliberate. She was not showing off, but she was clearly someone who had mastered her craft. By the time the meeting concluded, the crew's perception of the mission had shifted. What began as a routine recovery operation now felt like a high-stakes endeavor with real consequences. The presence of Lieutenant Kyla Vera had transformed the energy of the room. Where there had been quiet confidence, now there was focused determination. Where there had been skepticism, now there was respect. After the briefing, Adrian escorted her to her quarters. The corridors were still humming, still alive with the subtle vibrations of the ship, but Adrian could feel the weight of her presence lingering. "Lieutenant," he said, once they reached her assigned room, "I don't often meet officers who command attention so naturally. You have a presence that is hard to ignore." Kayla looked at him, her expression calm. "Presence is not command, Captain. Command is earned. I have faced situations where hesitation cost lives. I will not hesitate when lives are at stake, especially those of your crew." Adrian nodded slowly. There was wisdom in her words. And for the first time in a long while, he felt a sense of partnership. Not just someone assigned to the mission, but someone who would challenge him, push him, and make the crew better. As Kayla settled into her quarters, Adrian returned to the bridge, thoughts racing. He glanced at the holographic map of the mission sector, then back at his crew, now moving with renewed focus. There was something extraordinary about her, something beyond skill, beyond experience. She carried herself with a confidence that inspired, that demanded respect without intimidation. In the coming days, Adrian knew the mission would test them all. The thieves they were chasing were not ordinary, and the AI core they sought held more power than most could imagine. But with Kayla at his side, he felt a spark of hope, a sense that even in the vast uncertainty of space, the human element, combined with her brilliance, could make a difference. And as he watched her from the bridge, standing tall and surveying the crew with calm eyes, he realized something else. The whole room, the whole ship, and perhaps the entire mission had changed the moment she walked in. She had faced them all without fear. And the whole room, his ship, his crew, had fallen silent. The starship glided through the endless darkness of space, its thrusters leaving faint trails of light across the void. Captain Adrian Shaw stood on the bridge, arms folded, observing the glowing stars scattered across the holographic map before him. The mission was clear, yet tension lingered. They were tracking the stolen AI core, but every sensor reading hinted that this was no ordinary heist. Something larger, more organized was at play. Lieutenant Kayla Vera entered the bridge quietly, her footsteps measured, but her presence instantly filled the room. Adrian turned toward her, noticing again the calm certainty she carried. There was no panic in her gaze, no hesitation in her movements. She approached the tactical console and placed her hands on the controls, analyzing the sensor data with meticulous care. "The readings show multiple energy signatures," she said softly, yet her voice carried authority. "They are not just moving the core. They are coordinating with several ships across different sectors. Their formation is unusual, too fluid for standard mercenary groups. This suggests advanced training, possibly military experience from another civilization." Adrian nodded. "We suspected that. What do you suggest?" Kyla's eyes flickered toward the map. "We intercept them near the asteroid belt Gamma 7. Their path is predictable if we assume they are avoiding civilian zones and maintaining stealth protocols. But they will expect pursuit. This is a trap waiting to happen." The crew listened carefully, noting how she spoke with confidence but without arrogance. Her instructions were precise, logical, and adaptable. It was clear she had studied countless missions, understood tactical dynamics, and respected the abilities of humans without underestimating them. Adrian stepped closer, examining the tactical display with her. "If we split the team," he said, "half of us block the main corridor and the rest approach from the opposite vector, we might corner them before they reach the asteroid field." "Your input?" Kayla tapped a few holographic controls. "That plan assumes they will act defensively. If they are offensive, we risk collateral damage to the belt. I suggest using small, agile craft for reconnaissance first. Gather data on their formation, then intercept strategically." Precision over force, Adrian could not hide his respect. She was precise, smart, and entirely unflustered by the high stakes. Even his seasoned crew looked toward her with a mix of curiosity and admiration. She had a way of commanding attention without demanding it. Hours passed as the team prepared. The starship maneuvered closer to the coordinates Kayla had identified. Crew members checked weapons, calibrated shields, and reviewed tactical protocols. The usual nervous chatter was replaced with focused silence. Everyone felt it. The presence of Kayla was different. She wasn't just a new officer. She was someone who had the ability to reshape the mission simply by her involvement. The first small scout ships appeared on the sensors, tiny blips against the massive dark expanse. Kayla's fingers moved rapidly across the console. "They are scouting ahead," she observed. "3 vessels, light armament, but fast. They will relay our position unless we act quickly." Adrian turned to his tactical officer. "Prepare the intercept craft. Keep communication open but encrypted. No signals until we are ready." The intercept team launched, weaving silently through the void toward the scout ships. Kayla's eyes never left the display. "They are moving in formation now, predictable, engage carefully. Disable engines without destroying the ships. We need information, not casualties." The human pilots executed her instructions perfectly. The scouts were caught in precise energy nets, their engines disrupted without harm. The team recovered the ships and extracted data cores. Every step was calculated, every decision based on Kayla's assessment. Back on the starship, the room filled with quiet energy. The officers were impressed by her foresight, but none more so than Adrian. She had taken control without taking command, and the crew had followed willingly. "Excellent work," Adrian said, his voice firm but carrying genuine admiration. "You knew exactly what to do." Kayla shook her head slightly. "I simply applied logic and observation. Humans are capable of more than they realize, Captain. I trust your crew's skill. I only guided them." Adrian couldn't help but smile. Her modesty contrasted with her undeniable competence. It was rare to find someone who was so confident, so brilliant, yet so humble. As the crew analyzed the data retrieved from the scouts, patterns began to emerge. The stolen AI core was part of a larger plan, something designed to manipulate communication systems across several allied planets. Whoever had taken it intended chaos on a galactic scale. The implications were terrifying. Kayla leaned over the console, her eyes scanning the sequences of codes and trajectories. "They are not just stealing technology," she said. "They are planning a coordinated strike. We need to anticipate their next move. If we fail, civilian populations could be at risk." Adrian placed a hand on her shoulder. "Then we won't fail." "Not with you here." She gave a small nod but did not smile. Her mind was already working on strategies, contingencies, and calculations. That was one thing Adrian had learned quickly. Kayla never let emotions cloud her judgment. Fear, excitement, or doubt had no place in her decision-making. She relied on observation, logic, and courage. The mission continued for several days, each step bringing new challenges. Navigating asteroid fields, evading hidden mines, and intercepting communications, the crew faced multiple obstacles. Kayla's presence remained steady, guiding every maneuver, every decision. She demonstrated a deep understanding of both alien technology and human capability. One evening, as the starship orbited a small, rocky moon for recalibration and rest, Adrian observed her from the bridge. The stars reflected in her eyes, and she seemed lost in thought. Yet there was no hesitation, no doubt. He approached her quietly. "Lieutenant," he said softly, "you've done more than just lead our strategy. You've inspired the crew. I've seen soldiers and officers respond to orders before, but never like this. They trust you without question." Kayla's gaze shifted toward him, steady and calm. "Trust is earned through action, Captain. If I merely give orders without reasoning, they will follow out of fear. I am not interested in fear. I am interested in capability. And humans have an abundance of it. You've already proven that." Adrian felt a surge of pride, not just in the crew, but in what humans could achieve when paired with someone like Kayla. There was no arrogance in her words, only clarity. It made him want to rise to the occasion, to ensure that every decision he made was worthy of her respect. The next day, the mission reached its critical phase. The stolen AI core was located aboard a heavily armed transport, moving through a densely packed asteroid field. Any direct attack would be dangerous. Even the slightest miscalculation could destroy both the AI core and the surrounding area. Kayla analyzed the situation with her usual precision. "Direct assault is too risky," she said. "We need a diversion. Use the asteroid debris as cover. Split the boarding teams to approach from multiple angles. Disable power systems simultaneously. Timing is everything. One mistake and the mission fails." Adrian nodded. "Agreed, teams are ready. Execute your plan." The boarding teams moved as instructed. The starship itself provided cover from a safe distance, while Kayla directed operations with calm authority. Every action was coordinated perfectly. Explosions were avoided, systems were disabled in sequence, and the AI core was finally secured. The transport's crew, realizing the precision of the operation, surrendered without resistance. Back on the bridge, Adrian allowed himself a moment to breathe. The mission was a success, thanks largely to Kayla's guidance. The crew cheered quietly, their respect for both the captain and the lieutenant evident. Kayla looked at the recovered AI core, her eyes reflecting relief mixed with determination. "This is only the beginning," she said softly. "The factions behind this will regroup. They will plan again. We must remain vigilant," Adrian nodded. "And we will. With humans and allies working together, we can handle anything. You've proven that today." Kayla inclined her head, not seeking praise, yet accepting the acknowledgement. The room once again seemed to hum with energy, quiet, focused, and ready for whatever came next. As the starship continued its journey through the stars, Adrian realized something profound. Kayla had done more than complete a mission. She had changed the atmosphere of the crew, strengthened their confidence, and reminded him, and all aboard, that human ingenuity, courage, and determination were forces no enemy could easily overcome. And as he watched her standing at the tactical console, eyes bright with focus and purpose, Adrian knew the rest of the journey would test them even further. But he also knew they were ready. Together, human resilience and Kayla's brilliance would shape the outcome of whatever awaited in the dark expanse of space. The starship drifted silently through the edge of a dense nebula, the swirling gases casting dim, colorful light across the hull. Captain Adrian Shaw stood at the bridge, his hands resting lightly on the console. Despite their recent success in recovering the AI core, a sense of unease lingered. Kayla Vera, standing beside him, scanned the tactical displays with her usual precision, her eyes catching every anomaly in the readings. "Captain," she said calmly, pointing at the holographic map, "the stolen AI core has multiple tracking signals embedded. Whoever designed it is not only clever but anticipates retrieval attempts. They may be monitoring our movements now." Adrian nodded. "I suspected as much. What's your suggestion?" Kayla tapped the controls, highlighting several energy trails weaving through the nebula. "We proceed cautiously. Avoid predictable patterns. Their monitoring systems likely rely on anticipating human logic. We need to think in ways they cannot predict. Utilize irregular paths, decoy signals, and maintain sensor silence until we are ready to act." Adrian allowed himself a faint smile. He liked her approach. It was calculated yet daring, the perfect balance for human ingenuity. Humans were often underestimated by other civilizations, and Kayla knew exactly how to exploit that. The ship navigated deeper into the nebula, weaving through thick clouds of ionized gas. The colorful hues made the interior of the bridge feel ethereal, but there was no room for distraction. Every officer on the ship moved with heightened focus. They had learned to trust Kayla's instincts as much as they trusted Adrian's command. Together, their combined leadership created a disciplined and highly responsive team. Suddenly, the sensors flared with multiple alerts. Adrian's brow furrowed. "What is it?" Kayla's eyes narrowed. "Multiple unidentified vessels approaching at high speed. They are masked, but the sensors are picking up heat signatures through the nebula's interference. Likely the faction behind the AI theft, or at least scouts." Adrian turned to the crew. "Prepare defensive positions. Shields at maximum. Weapons on standby." Kayla's voice was calm, almost serene. "Do not engage hastily. Observe first. They will reveal their intentions if we remain patient. Aggressive action may trigger an ambush. Minutes passed, tension rising with every flicker of the sensor panels. Then a message arrived, a single cryptic transmission. It was not hostile, not a demand, but a warning. Turn back or consequences will follow. Adrian clenched his jaw. They underestimate us. Kayla studied the message carefully. They expect fear. They are testing human resolve. Our response will determine their strategy. We continue, but with vigilance. The team advanced cautiously, each maneuver guided by Kayla's sharp analysis. Her confidence never wavered. Even as the enemy vessels closed in, their engines leaving faint streaks of light across the nebula. The moment was tense, the bridge filled with focused energy rather than panic. Every officer knew their role, every movement deliberate, every action calculated. As they approached a narrow passageway in the nebula, the enemy vessels split, attempting to flank the starship. Kyla's fingers moved over the console with swift precision. Divert energy to lateral shields. Prepare decoy drones to simulate our path. They will pursue the false signals while we maintain a hidden trajectory. The plan unfolded perfectly. The decoy drones moved ahead, drawing enemy attention, while the starship slipped through the nebula undetected. Adrian observed, impressed by her foresight. This was not just strategy. It was artistry. Kayla's brilliance lay in her ability to predict behavior without hesitation, to guide the crew in executing maneuvers that seemed impossible under pressure. The ship emerged from the nebula into a vast asteroid field. Kayla leaned over the tactical display, highlighting clusters of floating rocks. Use the terrain to our advantage. Their ships are less maneuverable in dense fields. We can force them into predictable paths while minimizing risk to ourselves. Adrian nodded. Understood. All teams follow Kayla's directions. Precision over speed. The asteroid field was treacherous. Navigation required flawless timing, rapid adjustments, and absolute trust in the calculations. The human pilots, guided by Kayla's precise instructions, maneuvered the ship with breathtaking skill. The enemy vessels, larger and less agile, struggled to keep up. One collided with a massive rock, temporarily disabled, giving the crew a tactical advantage. Amidst the chaos, Kayla continued to issue calm, clear orders. Focus on disabling engines, not destroying vessels. We need information, not unnecessary destruction. Scan for energy cores. There may be additional devices like the stolen AI. The boarding teams prepared for rapid deployment, knowing that time was critical. Kayla coordinated with them seamlessly, every move synchronized. The officers felt inspired, their confidence boosted not only by her skill but by her unwavering presence. It was impossible to doubt her guidance. As the team approached one of the disabled enemy ships, sensors detected an unexpected anomaly. A hidden compartment shielded from normal scans contained several small devices emitting high-frequency signals. Kayla's eyes lit up with recognition. These are advanced tracking devices. They were monitoring our ship's path through the nebula. We neutralized them immediately to prevent further detection. The boarding team moved swiftly, following her instructions to the letter. The devices were deactivated, and the data extracted revealed the enemy's wider network. Multiple factions coordinating in secrecy, targeting other allied planets. The stakes had suddenly increased. What had begun as a mission to retrieve a single AI core now threatened the stability of several star systems. Back on the bridge, Adrian looked at Kayla, his respect deepening. You anticipated this. You saw beyond the immediate threat. Kayla's expression remained calm. Observation and logic, Captain. The enemy believes they can manipulate us with fear and misdirection. We must remain adaptable. Human creativity and courage are strengths they cannot predict. Adrian allowed himself a moment of quiet admiration. She was extraordinary, not just in skill but in presence. Her calmness, her decisiveness, and her ability to inspire confidence had transformed the mission and the crew. He realized that success in space did not rely solely on technology or firepower, but on the people guiding it. The starship continued through the asteroid field, navigating toward the coordinates revealed by the enemy devices. Kayla analyzed the data, mapping potential ambush points and calculating the safest paths. Every decision was a blend of logic and instinct, human intuition enhanced by experience and discipline. Hours later, the enemy regrouped, attempting to predict the ship's trajectory. Kayla anticipated their moves, instructing Adrian and the crew to execute a series of sudden course changes. The enemy vessels, unable to adjust quickly, fell behind or collided with the dense asteroid formations. The starship emerged unscathed, the AI core secure, and the enemy temporarily incapacitated. The crew erupted in quiet celebration, their energy renewed. Kayla observed with calm satisfaction, acknowledging their efforts without fanfare. Adrian approached her once more. "Your leadership today has been remarkable. The crew's performance, our success, it's largely because of your guidance." Kayla shook her head slightly. "You and your crew are capable, Captain." I merely pointed the way. "Human courage and adaptability are what carried this mission. My role is to recognize potential and guide, not to overshadow." The captain smiled. She was modest yet undeniably brilliant. Her presence had not only ensured success but elevated everyone aboard the ship. She had faced danger without fear, commanding respect through action, intellect, and unwavering confidence. As the starship continued its journey, Kayla turned her gaze toward the stars. There were more threats ahead, more challenges to face. Yet she was ready, and with humans at her side, their combination of resilience, creativity, and determination would overcome any obstacle. Adrian watched her from the bridge, realizing that this mission was no longer just about an AI core. It had become a testament to human potential, their ingenuity, and their capacity to face the unknown with courage. And in that moment, he understood fully why the room had fallen silent the first time she had entered. Kyla Vera was a force of presence, brilliance, and leadership. Her calm eyes, unwavering determination, and confidence inspired all who served alongside her. The mission was far from over. But with Kayla at his side, Adrian felt an unshakable certainty. Whatever challenges awaited, humans would rise to meet them. Together they would turn uncertainty into opportunity, danger into triumph, and fear into determination. The stars stretched infinitely ahead, and the journey continued. The starship cruised through the dark expanse of space, silent except for the faint hum of the engines. Captain Adrian Shaw stood at the bridge, his hands resting lightly on the control panel as he surveyed the tactical displays. They had successfully evaded the enemy scouts and recovered the stolen AI core, but the mission was far from over. The data recovered from the enemy vessels suggested a larger plan, one that could threaten multiple allied planets if left unchecked. Lieutenant Kyla Vera stood beside him, her posture calm but alert. Her eyes scanned the incoming data streams, noting every anomaly and pattern. "Captain," she said, her voice measured, "the faction behind this operation has a hidden stronghold nearby. Its location is concealed, but the energy signatures we detected earlier lead toward a dense cluster of asteroids in this sector. They may be planning to regroup there." Adrian nodded. "Then that's our next destination. Prepare the crew. We'll need to approach cautiously." Kayla's eyes narrowed slightly. "Caution is necessary, but so is speed. If they are regrouping, we must act before they can fortify their position. Delays could result in additional threats or loss of the AI core." The crew moved swiftly to follow her instructions. Weapons were recalibrated, shields were reinforced, and boarding teams were briefed on the potential risks. The usual tension in the air was replaced by focused determination. Kayla's presence had instilled a sense of purpose in every officer on the ship. They trusted her guidance completely, and it showed in the precision of their preparations. As the starship entered the asteroid cluster, sensors detected multiple hidden vessels. Their energy emissions were faint, carefully masked, but Kayla's trained eyes picked up subtle irregularities. "They are attempting to remain hidden," she said. "Use the asteroid cover to our advantage. Approach from multiple vectors. Maintain sensor silence until the last moment." Adrian nodded and gave the orders. The ship weaved through the dense field of rocks, careful to avoid collisions while maintaining stealth. The enemy vessels remained unaware of their presence, focused on fortifying their position. Kayla coordinated with the boarding teams via encrypted channels, giving precise instructions. "Deploy the small reconnaissance craft first," she said. "Identify entry points and disable security systems remotely. Timing is critical. Any misstep could alert them to our presence." The reconnaissance teams moved into position, their small craft slipping between asteroids like shadows. Kayla monitored their progress on the tactical display, adjusting their paths in real time to avoid detection. Her focus was absolute, every decision calculated and deliberate. Suddenly, One of the enemy vessels detected a sensor anomaly and began to move toward the source. Kayla's eyes flicked to the display. They've detected something. Initiate diversion protocols. Use holographic decoys to simulate our presence in a different sector. Lead them away from the main path. Adrian watched in admiration as the plan unfolded perfectly. The enemy ships took the bait, pursuing the decoys while the boarding teams advanced toward the hidden stronghold. Kayla's foresight and quick thinking had turned a potentially dangerous situation into a tactical advantage. The small craft approached the enemy stronghold, and the boarding teams prepared for rapid deployment. Kayla's voice remained calm and steady. Move quickly but carefully. Neutralize defenses without causing unnecessary damage. We need intelligence, not destruction. Secure the AI core and any additional devices. Keep communication channels open and encrypted at all times. The boarding teams executed the plan flawlessly, disabling security systems and entering the stronghold undetected. Inside, they found the stolen AI core and several additional devices capable of manipulating communications across multiple star systems. Kayla monitored every move from the bridge, providing real-time guidance and adjusting strategies as needed. Adrian felt a sense of pride and relief. The mission was progressing smoothly, thanks to Kayla's expertise and the crew's skill. Yet he knew the danger was not over. The enemy faction was highly organized and could respond quickly if they discovered the boarding team's presence. Kayla's attention remained fixed on the tactical displays. We've secured the AI core, but sensors indicate additional energy signatures deeper within the stronghold. They may have other devices or personnel critical to their operations. We should proceed with caution, Adrian agreed. Boarding teams, advance carefully. Kayla will guide you. The teams moved forward, navigating the stronghold's complex corridors. Kayla's instructions were precise, ensuring they avoided traps and security measures. Her calm presence provided confidence and clarity, allowing the teams to operate efficiently under high pressure. As they reached the central chamber, they encountered the faction's leader, an alien strategist known for cunning and ruthlessness. He had expected them, but he had not anticipated the human ingenuity and coordination displayed by Kayla and the crew. Kayla stepped forward, her voice firm and commanding. You have underestimated human creativity and adaptability. Surrender now and your lives will be spared. Resistance is futile. The alien leader hesitated, recognizing the determination in her eyes. He had faced many opponents, but few had displayed such unwavering focus and intelligence. For the first time, he realized that humans, when guided by clear strategy and courage, could overcome even the most formidable adversaries. Adrian moved beside Kayla, his presence reinforcing the strength of their position. Together, they represented not only leadership but the combined power of human resilience and tactical brilliance. The alien leader, realizing the futility of resistance, ordered his forces to stand down. The boarding team secured the remaining devices, ensuring they could no longer be used to threaten Allied systems. Kayla monitored the operation, confirming that all critical assets were accounted for and neutralized. Back on the bridge, Adrian allowed himself a moment of reflection. The mission had reached a turning point thanks to Kayla's guidance and the crew's unwavering commitment. They had faced a highly organized enemy, navigated treacherous terrain, and secured critical technology, all without unnecessary casualties. Kayla's gaze remained focused on the displays, analyzing the remaining threats and ensuring the AI core was safe. The immediate danger has passed, she said. But we must remain vigilant. The faction may attempt retaliation or regroup elsewhere. Continuous monitoring and strategic planning are essential. Adrian nodded. Agreed. We will continue our mission, but for now, the crew should rest and prepare for the next phase. You've earned their respect and trust, Kayla. Your leadership has been invaluable. Kayla inclined her head slightly, acknowledging the praise without seeking it. Her focus was always on the mission, on ensuring the safety and success of the crew and the objectives at hand. The starship moved away from the stronghold, entering open space once again. The crew, inspired by the successful operation and Kayla's leadership, worked with renewed energy and determination. They had witnessed human courage and ingenuity firsthand. Guided by a brilliant strategist who faced every challenge without fear, Adrian observed the stars stretching endlessly ahead, a reminder of the vast challenges that awaited them. Yet he felt confident. With Kayla's guidance and the crew's dedication, they could face whatever dangers lay in the darkness of space. As the starship sailed onward, Adrian reflected on the journey so far. Kayla had transformed the atmosphere of the ship, instilling confidence, focus, and a sense of purpose. She had faced danger with unwavering determination, guided the crew with precision, and demonstrated the true potential of human courage and intelligence. He understood now why the room had fallen silent the first time she had entered. Kayla Vera commanded respect not through intimidation or force, but through presence, intellect, and the quiet strength of someone who knew exactly what to do in critical moments. The mission was far from over, but Adrian felt certain that with humans and Kayla working together, they could overcome any obstacle. Their combined abilities, human adaptability, creativity, and courage, paired with Kayla's strategic brilliance, were a force unmatched by any adversary they had encountered. The stars continued to stretch infinitely ahead, and the journey continued. Challenges awaited, but so did triumph, and as Adrian watched Kayla standing confidently at the bridge, he knew that no matter what came next, they would face it without fear, guided by intelligence, strategy, and the unwavering spirit of humanity. The starship moved steadily through deep space, the endless void stretching around it like a dark sea. Captain Adrian Shaw stood at the bridge, his gaze fixed on the holographic display of the sector ahead. The enemy faction, though temporarily defeated, was regrouping. The stolen AI core was secure, but intelligence suggested that the main forces were preparing for a final confrontation, one that could determine the stability of multiple allied systems. Lieutenant Kayla Vera stood beside him, her calm presence a stark contrast to the tension in the room. She scanned the data streams, her sharp eyes detecting subtle patterns in the enemy's movements. "Captain," she said quietly, "they are converging toward a cluster of small planets nearby. This may be their last attempt to reclaim the AI core or retaliate. We must anticipate their strategy carefully." Adrian nodded. "Then we prepare for everything. Full readiness. Shields, weapons, and boarding teams. Everyone on alert." Kayla's fingers moved swiftly across the tactical console, calculating probable enemy paths and formations. "We cannot predict everything," she said, "but we can anticipate enough to create advantage. The key is precision, coordination, and human adaptability. They will underestimate our ability to act unpredictably." The crew worked efficiently, following her guidance with confidence. Kayla's presence had instilled not only discipline but inspiration. Humans, despite the dangers they faced, were capable of creativity, courage, and resilience, traits the enemy had consistently underestimated. As the starship approached the planetary cluster, sensor readings confirmed multiple enemy vessels moving in formation. Kayla studied the display. "They are splitting into groups. Some will attempt a direct assault. Others will flank from the asteroid belts. We must divide our forces accordingly, with rapid response teams ready to intercept." Adrian turned to the tactical officer. "Implement Kayla's plan immediately. Split our defensive and boarding teams, maintain communication, and follow her timing precisely." The starship maneuvered expertly, weaving through the asteroid belts and positioning the crews strategically. Kayla's instructions were clear, precise, and adaptable. Every officer knew their role, every action synchronized. It was a ballet of strategy, skill, and human determination. The enemy launched their assault, targeting the starship directly while sending smaller strike teams toward the planetary defenses. Kayla's voice remained steady as she issued commands. "Divert power to forward shields, but keep lateral shields ready for sudden flanking maneuvers. Activate decoy drones to simulate multiple trajectories. Focus on disabling engines, not destroying vessels. Our goal is intelligence and control." The starship responded flawlessly, moving through the assault with precision. Decoy drones drew enemy fire, while boarding teams deployed to intercept strike units attempting planetary sabotage. The human pilots, guided by Kayla's insights, demonstrated remarkable skill and creativity, turning potential disaster into advantage. Amid the chaos, Kayla identified the enemy's command vessel, larger and heavily armed, coordinating the attack. "Captain," she said, "if we disable their command vessel, the rest will lose coordination. That is our priority." Precision strike supported by boarding teams. Adrian nodded. "All teams focus on command vessel. Execute Kayla's plan exactly. The attack unfolded with calculated brilliance. Energy nets and precision strikes immobilized the command vessel, while boarding teams infiltrated it to disable internal systems. Kayla coordinated every move, predicting enemy responses before they could act. Her calm authority guided the crew through the tension, ensuring minimal risk and maximum efficiency. Inside the command vessel, the boarding teams encountered resistance from the enemy officers. Kayla's strategy emphasized precision and intelligence over brute force. The officers were disarmed, systems were neutralized, and the AI core was secured without any unnecessary destruction. Back on the bridge of the starship, Adrian observed the operation with pride. The mission had reached its climax, and the crew's coordination, combined with Kayla's guidance, had ensured success. Yet he knew vigilance was essential. The enemy was clever and resourceful. Kayla analyzed the tactical displays, confirming the remaining threats were neutralized or incapacitated. "The immediate danger is over," she said calmly. "The AI core is secure, and the enemy has no remaining coordinated forces in this sector. We have achieved full mission success." Adrian allowed himself a moment of relief. The mission, which had begun as a simple recovery, had evolved into a high-stakes operation across multiple systems. Human courage, adaptability, and ingenuity had played a central role. Guided by Kayla's brilliant strategy and calm leadership, the crew began systematic debriefing and repairs, ensuring the starship and all teams were prepared for any further contingencies. Kayla monitored the process, her focus unwavering. She was thorough, ensuring nothing was overlooked, no detail neglected. Later, in the observation deck, Adrian stood beside Kayla, watching the stars stretch infinitely beyond the hull. The AI core rested securely in the containment chamber, and the starship moved steadily toward Allied space. "You've done more than lead a mission," Adrian said quietly. "You've inspired the crew, guided every decision, and proven the value of human determination. Without you, this operation would have faced far greater risk." Kayla's expression remained calm, yet there was a hint of acknowledgement in her eyes. "Captain, the crew's courage and adaptability were the true strength. I merely guided and coordinated. Humans have remarkable resilience. Their ingenuity and determination often surpass expectation. That is why missions like this succeed." Adrian nodded, understanding fully. It was human creativity, courage, and the ability to adapt under pressure, paired with strategic brilliance, that had won the day. Kayla had amplified those qualities, and together, they had overcome impossible odds. The crew gathered in the main hall for a debriefing ceremony. There were no speeches of grandeur, only recognition of effort, skill, and bravery. Kayla stood at the front, calm and composed, acknowledging each officer's contribution with subtle appreciation. The atmosphere was one of respect and shared achievement. Adrian addressed the crew briefly, praising their courage and cooperation. "This mission was not just about recovering a stolen AI core," he said. "It was about proving that humans, guided by intelligence, creativity, and determination, can overcome challenges that others deem impossible. Today we have demonstrated that. Your efforts will be remembered." The crew erupted in quiet applause, acknowledging both their own achievement and the leadership of Kayla Vera. She had faced them without fear, commanded respect without demanding it, and ensured that human potential had been fully realized. Later, as the starship traveled through calmer space, Adrian and Kayla reviewed the mission data. They identified patterns learned from each encounter and refined strategies for future operations. Kayla's analytical mind and Adrian's leadership complemented each other perfectly, forming a partnership built on trust, respect, and shared purpose. "Captain," Kayla said finally, her tone reflective, "today we have seen what humans are capable of when faced with impossible odds. Courage, ingenuity, adaptability. These qualities are underestimated by many civilizations. Yet they define your species. That is why missions like this succeed." Adrian smiled, a deep sense of pride and understanding filling him. "Yes, Lieutenant. And with guidance like yours, we can achieve even greater things. The human spirit, combined with intelligence and strategy, is unstoppable." The stars stretched endlessly before them, a reminder of both the challenges and opportunities awaiting in the vastness of space. The mission was complete, the AI core secured, and the enemy defeated, but the journey continued. The universe was full of unknown dangers, yet also full of possibilities, waiting for those brave enough to face them. Kyla turned her gaze toward the stars, calm and unwavering. She had faced countless challenges, guided humans through impossible situations, and proven the value of strategy, courage, and intelligence. She knew that humanity's resilience would always shine through, even in the darkest corners of space. Adrian stood beside her, watching the stars with a sense of satisfaction and anticipation. Together they had faced the unknown, turned danger into triumph, and demonstrated the power of human potential. And as the starship sailed onward, carrying its crew into the vast expanse, it was clear that the lessons learned, the courage displayed, and the brilliance of Calavera would remain long after the mission had ended. Humans had faced the challenge without fear, guided by intelligence and strategy, and emerged stronger than ever. The journey continued, the stars stretched infinitely ahead, and humanity's potential shone brightly in the dark sea of space. And throughout it all, Calavera remained calm, confident, and unshakable, a testament to leadership, strategy, and the power of courage.